Hello everybody, my name is Mary and I'd like to take you somewhere very special. It's a town not far from here, but it's not one you'll find on any map. That's because it exists in my imagination. Maybe I should explain. When I was 6, I fell off the neighbour's fence and broke my leg. I spent that summer in traction, watching sunlight dance on the far wall of the ward. At night, when the pain in my leg got bad, I would go to Mary's town in my mind. I should explain the flapping sound, because Mary's town is in my imagination. I can fly here. Right now I'm descending at a speed of over 100 miles an hour from a height of just under 2 miles. What you hear is my Mac flapping in the wind as I descend through a massive cloud so thick I can't see past my own hand. I'm also finding it very hard to catch my breath. Don't worry, this is completely normal. I've done it hundreds of times. I've dropped below cloud cover and I'm still descending. There's land less than a mile beneath me now. I can see a patchwork of fields stretching all the way to the coastline. The sea is flat. Such a beautiful day. The sky is clear blue, but there's a dark squall on the horizon. I'm hovering about 300 feet up, looking north to Mary's town, with its many little winding streets, overlooked by an old Carmelite convent on the hill. I like to fly in from the north, over the tips of the tall oak trees. I can see the handball alley and the clearing with the tire swing rope. I can see the football park and the red north stand and the rows of houses beyond. I am flying, flying into Mary's town. I am flying into Mary's town. I've sung all my life. I sang for 40 years with the Light Opera Society. As a teenage girl, I sang for the Padua family in Montley Hall. Afterwards, the Duchess Albana kissed my hand and announced that I had the voice of an angel. I can't sing like that anymore. I am flying, flying into Mary's town. I am flying into Mary's town. Now I'm over the quay. Some of the buildings are brightly coloured, blue, yellow, red, and there's a fun fair on the marina, bumpers and a merry-go-round and a house of mirrors. I'll fly down near the horse carousel. I am flying, flying above Mary's town. I am flying above Mary's town. I see sheets on the washing lines blowing in the wind, a trampoline, a pigeon coop, a glass house. I like the backs of houses. Sometimes they're much more interesting than the front, don't you think? Let's go by the main street. I'll cut across the old square with its bandstand. The main street is quiet today, just a few lonely shoppers here and there. I can see Kyo's, where they make the best coffee in Mary's town. Just up from that we have Sampson's Butchers, which is run by 2 sisters, 2 slim old ladies with white hair, but enormous strength. One sister in particular heaves around all the carcasses and cuts them up with a handsaw and cleaver on her butcher's block.
Hello, Mary.
Hello. I can't tell who it is. Could it be the electrician's apprentice, the fair-haired one? People shout hello up at me all the time. The sight of me flying up here in my Mac and Trilby hat is completely normal to them. Oh, there's Bren Fenlon standing at the mouth of Tay Lane with his rhubarb cart. You can't hear him from here, but when he's hawking his wares, he shouts, "Big large, red rhubarb. Big, large, red rhubarb. Everyone knows what he means, even if he can't say it. Maybe he can pronounce the word, but the fact that he said it so many times has worn it down like a pebble in a stream. There's his mother Margot marching up the street. He doesn't see her yet. Oh, an imposing lady. She doesn't suffer fools, Ben included. She's wearing a black skirt with black Spanish leather boots and kid leather gloves. There's a strip of Maltese lace slung around her neck like a scarf. She's turned off into Harper's Market Garden, where she'll drive a hard bargain, no doubt. And here's Bass Swift coming the other way. He lives in a sort of a shack on Droopy's Lane, but he painted stairs on the living room wall so that when people look in through the front door, they think there's another floor. Oh, there's all sorts in Mary's town, but everyone is tolerated, and Scary Tess lives in the house behind his. She's been known to scream obscenities, I won't repeat them, into people's letterboxes at night. She also runs into the street to sing at the full moon. Nobody's perfect. I know I'm not. I talk too much. I just can't stop. Oh, where was I? Oh, let's see if Tommy's in. I know we hadn't planned it, but sometimes it's nice to be spontaneous. I'm hovering outside his window now, which, to be honest, could do with a bit of a clean. Tommy? Tommy? Are you there?
Mary, as I live and breathe. Sit down. Ignore the mess. I was at the football game up at the park last week. I was in my usual spot in the North Stand, where I've been going every Sunday for 40 years now to shout for the Marytown Maulers. Up to Maulers! So, we were watching the game, and you know me, I like to be vocal, and this fella behind me kept patting me on the back of my head. So I turned around and I looked him in the eye and says I, "Excuse me, young man, but would you please stop patting me on the head?" Oh, he acted like he'd no idea what I was talking about. So I returned to the game, and sure enough, he starts patting me again. So I spun around and says "I've already asked you politely to stop." He just smiles. So I turns back to the game and I tries to enjoy it, but inside I'm fuming.
You'll have to watch your heart, Tommy.
Would you believe? Within minutes he was patting me again on the head. Well, I rounded on him and my heart was racing, which is not good for me, I know, but he just raised his hand and says he, "What's your name?" And says I, "It's Tommy." "You're not from around here, are you?" says he. Says I lives around the corner." "But you weren't born here," says he. "I've been living here 40 years, says I. "Makes no difference," says he. "What you're known as a blowing." Oh. Now, I should add at this point that he was a short man, so I decided to draw attention to this fact by asking him if he was late for a meeting with Snow White. Oh, it was a remark, Mary, that did nothing to relieve the already considerable tension. All eyes in the North Stand were on us. He got right up into me face and said, "What's your mouth round here, you? Blowing?" Oh. At which point, this big lad with long hair, I'd seen him many times in the stand, and we'd spoken a few times over the air. He steps in and says "This man has been coming to the North Stand to shout for the Maulers every Sunday, rain or shine," says he, "for 40 years, says he. He's not a blowing," says he. "He's one of us," says he. Oh, that shut him up smartly. He got off the stand fairly quickly too, huh? He knew there were 33 men ready to chase him off it, huh? Me included, Mary, huh? Well, after the game, the big lad asked me to go back to their local for a drink. Bit of a sing-song started, you know. And the old Marytown maritime ballads, sure, I know them all. So I got up there and I started to sing. And one of them at the back shouted up, What's a blowing doing singing Marytown's ballads, says he. Oh, well, with that, the big lad, he steps up and says he, this man knows the name of every street in Marystown, which is more than can be said for most of the people who live here, says he. You're well aware of me research into the street names, Mary. Well, I made a new discovery this week. There's a small street on the edge of Marystown called Mean and Ugly. Did you know that? Who would have thought someone would call a street that, huh? But it's there on an old little street sign. Mean and Ugly. Oh, to be fair, it's an ugly little street. This man, says he, has been into every nook and cranny of this town. He knows it like the back of his own hand. You could say that he's more from Marystown than the people of Marystown themselves. So I sang the men from Marystown and the Starboard Watch and Dilligan's Fancy and the Twisted Sail. I sang them all. And afterwards there was this hush in the pub. And then everyone started to clap. Your man at the back said, he may be a blowing, but he can sure hold a tune. I thought that was a good one, huh? Would you like to hear some music? You'll like this, Mary.
Caruso was such a beautiful tenor. I must get going. There's a dark squall headed this way and I don't fancy getting caught in it. May I use the window?
Allow me.
Bye, Tommy. Take care.
Goodbye, Mary.
I am flying, far away from Marystown. I'm flying away from Marystown. Over the streets and side streets, away from the housing estates. Oh, I was right about that squall. It's in the bay already. Our window is closing. It was so good to see everyone. Marystown looks so small from here. Hard to believe it contains so many people, each one special and unique in their own right. I'm back in the cloud. Visibility is fading. Goodbye to everyone until next time. I love you all.